You want to know the least used brawlers in BrawlStars? Well, you've clicked on the right video. Make sure to watch till the end because you won't believe who the last brawler is. At number 5 is Mortis. Okay, I get it. It was a joke. At number 5 is Mo. For those who don't know, Mo is a mythic brawler introduced in BrawlStars in September 2024. He has a unique ability to switch between two forms, a ranged attack form and a close combat driller form, giving him versatility. Mo is a good brawler who was hyped like crazy, but now his usage rate is less than 50%, and no one even talks about him. Here's why. He's too complex. Mo requires players to switch between his two forms, one for long-range attacks and the other for close combat. This can be tricky to master, and many players prefer brawlers that have simpler, more straightforward playstyles. 2. Recent nerfs. After his release, Mo received nerfs that made him less powerful. Specifically, his driller form's damage dropped from 340 to 280 per second, and his super's damage decreased from 1,000 to 800. These changes made him weaker in both offensive and defensive scenarios, reducing his effectiveness in matches. Too expensive. Mo is a mythic brawler, which means he's harder to unlock compared to other brawlers. He costs 1,900 credits or 349 gems to obtain, a high price for many players, especially when compared to easier-to-get brawlers that might suit their playstyle better. These factors combined make Mo less popular compared to other brawlers in the game. At number 4 is Lola. Lola is a legendary brawler introduced in BrawlStars in March 2024. She has a unique ability to create a clone of herself that can attack while Lola stays safe. This makes her a strategic choice for players who like to outsmart their opponents with tricky moves. Lola was hyped up when she first came out, but now her usage rate has dropped all the way to 0.35%. Here's why. She's too dependent on her clone. Lola's clone is a cool ability, but it makes her highly dependent on how well you can use it. If you don't place the clone in the right spot or time it wrong, it doesn't do much. Players who are just starting out might struggle with this, and they may find brawlers with simpler abilities more effective. Plus, if your clone gets destroyed quickly, it leaves you vulnerable. Lola nerfs. After her release, Lola was considered too strong, especially with how her clone could deal massive damage. To balance her, Supercell made some changes that reduced her clone's damage output and its effectiveness in certain situations. These nerfs made Lola a bit weaker, which caused many players to look for other brawlers who felt more powerful or reliable in matches. At number 3 is Mr. P. Mr. P is a legendary brawler introduced in BrawlStars in February 2020. He's known for his ability to throw bouncing suitcases that deal damage, along with his unique super that summons a robotic penguin to fight alongside him. His range and support role make him an interesting pick for team play. Mr. P was once a popular pick, especially in the early days of his release, but here is why nobody uses him. 1 has 2, reliant on his gadgets, and Super Mr. P's effectiveness heavily depends on his gadgets and super, particularly the penguin. While the penguin is a great distraction, it's not always enough to turn the tide of battle on its own. If your gadgets and super aren't used at the right time, Mr. P can feel weak and vulnerable. This makes him harder to play effectively, and players often choose brawlers with more consistent abilities. Second, nerfs. Over time, Mr. P has received several nerfs that have reduced his power. His damage output has been lowered, and the effectiveness of his penguin's super has been toned down. These nerfs made him less of a threat in battle, and now other brawlers who offer more direct and consistent damage output have taken his place in the meta. And the least used brawler is... drumroll please. It's Pam.